So, not useful. Excellent. We've got one here, but I can't see anything. It says I've been live for 1 minute and 54. Well, awesome. Good. But I can't actually see the stream coming through. Like, that's just not happening. Monetized, it's public. There are people in here. Is the data catching up? Okay, so now I'm starting to see something coming through. I can hear something. Okay, so there we go. We're finally getting some action. It took a little while for YouTube to decide that me streaming half an hour after doing, or less than half an hour after doing one, was actually going to be something I could handle. I had a poll ready to go. I just don't have time to put the poll up. I'm not going to put it up again. Or do I want to put the poll up? No, I do want to put the poll up. I'll type it back in. Let me just pull out my head phony thingies, and I'll type in the question, and then I'm going to get started, because that's why you're here. I'll give you my thoughts as I go. Yeah, took a while. YouTube was confused. All right, so here we go. Will you fill out the Unearthed Arcana character, come on people, get it right. Character options, origins, survey for 1D and D. I want to know, so I'm going to put down here yes, no. Shina 81 is here. Of course, we've got to have undecided. I will mark down already done. How's that? I can only do 4 options. I'll plug this in. That'll pop up. And I'm going to pull up the document. I'm going to be flicking from the document, the PDF of so I can actually refer to stuff as I go, because I will forget stuff otherwise, and I am live, so that makes it even harder. And then I will also go back to you'll see me filling out the survey. Okay. Oh, no, I don't want that sound, but we are live. Okay, cool. I've got all the bits and pieces ready to go. Shall we proceed over to our survey? I'm actually going to do a little bit of an introduction, because I couldn't help myself. The opportunity to take the piss out of this could not be better. So, but then I take the piss out of everything. Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Weller, and today I'm going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Well, kind of, yes, I am, but I'm also going to fill out the survey. That is the 1D&D playtest survey for the Unearthed Arcana. That is the character origins, the first packet that has been released. I would very much like to actually go through that today. So that's what I'm going to do. And then you can see how I think. And if I forget something that I need to mention, then you will remind me, and I will hopefully, if I agree with you, I will add it in. And if I don't agree with you, then I just will read it off the chat, and I won't put it in. That's essentially what we're going for. But ultimately the reason for doing this, why am I doing this, is because I want you to go and read the play packet material, and I want you to fill out the survey. Now, for those of you who are unaware, I was a beta and alpha playtest. That's the private alpha playtest for D&D Next. Okay, in other words, I was one of the final playtesters involved in D&D Next that became 5e when it went behind closed doors. Okay, that's why my name is in the monster manual. I don't know that that'll ever happen again, that I'll ever be an alpha playtester, but I wouldn't want to be one, frankly, and I was roped into it. But I have been part of that. And their time frame is usually 2 weeks, test something, survey. 2 weeks, next thing, test, survey. It's very hard to keep up with. And they are doing the same thing in the public forum. So if you're thinking this is a lot faster than it should be, well, it's their normal process. That's kind of how they do things. Let's move over to where we need to go. So this is the Unearthed Arcana. I've maximized it so I can actually see it because I can't read nothing. My eyes are terrible nowadays, and therefore I actually have to expand everything. Otherwise, I can't see what's going on. That's why I've magnified it 200% rather than it just being 100%. And I know that's not necessarily useful to you, but for me, I'm going to need it. Otherwise, it's not going to work. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to cover up the actual survey material. So if it does, you let me know. I can see everything pretty clearly. All right. So this is the survey. You need to go into sources. You'll need to go down to HowtoDandD playtest material. You need to make sure that you download the material first, have a look at it, read through it, make some decisions, and then there will also be at the bottom, it's not just download the PDF. You then can now take the survey. It's now open. So I'm going to press the button and take the survey and then work my way through here. This is probably going to take me a while, I suspect. I may need my glasses if this text is too small, and I don't have like the black screen. Thanks for taking the time to complete the survey. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons. Okay. The survey focuses on character origins, backgrounds, feats, and the spell options released in Unearthed Arcana. That's the August 18th. Okay, so, all right. Yeah, so they want you to read it. So, would you like to rate the material presented in the character origins? Well, there's no point doing it if I wasn't. So, yes, of course I do. What was the first edition of D&D that you played? So, what was the first one I played? I didn't play Basic. I didn't play First. I played Second Edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. That was the one I first played. So we go next. Okay. How's it going, Agile Monk? Old age affecting sight is a pain. It absolutely is. Get the glasses on. Actually, what I've found is my glasses, when my optometrist took the glasses for reading and put them on, and then I took them off, it was so close to the same that we were like, oh dear, there's not much we can do. The only way to solve that would probably be surgery. And yes, that's not going to happen. Yeah, so yes, the corrective lenses didn't work. Okay, which of the following character origin options have you play tested? Choose all that apply. So in other words, if you haven't play tested it, so they're actually wanting you to give, if you haven't play tested it, they want to know. So first off, I'm going to say orc, because the orc is just the half orc, people. Like, there's only a couple of there. It really isn't very different from what it already was. The dwarf, no. The dragonborn, no. Human variant. It's just a human variant. You have already play tested it. Like, if you had a human variant in your game, you've already play tested this. The gnome, the elf, the dwarf, the dragonborn. So I can't give them a huge amount of information on this. How satisfied were you overall with the character origin options as presented in the article? Hello Rex, how's it going? OD&D original 3-book boxes set for you. Okay, good. I know you started there. So how satisfied was I with stuff? Well, human, it was fine. It's just the human variant. Nobody really basically used to play the other human version. Is there anything that sort of stands out as like it shouldn't be there? No, not really. It's all right. Yeah, it's all right. Ardling, I did not like. I thought it was confusing as. Yeah, I didn't like that. And I haven't play tested it. I don't like things that have limited flight. If you're going to give it flight, give it flight. If you're not going to give it flight, don't give it flight. But that's not the only thing that was really weird. It just didn't mesh. The Dragonborn I still don't like, and I don't want it to be OP. I'm glad they've got dark vision, but yeah, I didn't like what they did. The breath weapon is still a problem, and I don't know that a D10 plus whatever modifier is the answer. But I will have to say that I think maybe we need to narrow it down to a single target maybe, and because when you look at the dragon, if we go to the Dragonborn, if I can get, this is all sort of back to front, so I've got to go down, don't I? Ardling, Dragonborn, where are you? When you look at the Dragonborn and how it's structured, It just doesn't quite work. Resistance, that never changed. I'm fine with that. It makes sense. Dark vision, we finally have it. The languages, that's all good. I'm happy with that. Yeah, your breath weapon is still a weird. I think get rid of the cone, and then you don't have to worry about multiple targets. The problem is that what people want to do is they want to use their breath weapon multiple times, and Wizards of the Coast is figuring that if you've got a 15-foot cone, then doing that once is sufficient and comparable to making multi-attack. But of course, at high levels, it doesn't quite work that way. So I think there's still work to be done with the breath weapon. That's why I don't really like it that much. And then tieflings, the only one I kind of liked even remotely was the infernal, because it kind of seemed to make sense. The other ones I did not get at all. The dwarf, how did I feel about the dwarf? I was still dissatisfied with the dwarf, primarily because I thought I liked the idea of the tremor sense. I just don't like limited stuff. Like, if you're going to give them tremor sense, give them tremor sense. If 60 feet is too much and you can't have it on all the time, like, why does it not work? Did suddenly their tremor sense turn off? I don't get it. So I don't like the elves. Actually, I think the elves, even though they are a little bit strange at times, because there are things here that are, like, I still believe that there should be at least one ability modifier or ability score affected by a plus on an elf. Like, it's still, or some of the other races as well, that it shouldn't all be tied to backgrounds. So I'm going to say, so does that mean that I'm actually satisfied? Yeah, I don't really care about that one. Elf, still not quite, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. Dragonborn, very dissatisfied. I know, I don't think I've that strong on that one. Next one, what is this? The gnome. Actually, I thought the gnomes weren't too bad, frankly. Hi, Spirit Wolf, how's it going? So let's think about the tiefling. This is the question they're asking, right? Is it tiefling? Gnome. No, the gnome. I'm looking at the gnome now. The gnome, I'm fine with. I actually think gnomish cunning is pretty strong, but then again, intelligence and charisma saving throws don't come up that often. Dark vision, I suppose so. Everything has dark vision. I wish it wasn't 60 feet. 30 feet is perfectly adequate. Leave the monsters that actually live under the ground having 60 feet. I suppose gnomes do. I mean, out of all of them, the gnomes probably do. But anyway. So let's have a look. The lineage thing, I actually I'm reasonably all right with most of this. I think the only thing that annoyed me was the forest gnome. Minor illusion, I'm fine with. Okay, or if they'd given the forest gnome druid craft, that would have been fine too. I think any of those would have been perfectly adequate. The speak with animals, I don't like this spell being here. I actually prefer if they had just said that forest gnomes could speak to animals. So I have a little bit of a problem with that. I actually think the rock gnome is probably the stronger out of all of them, and actually I'm probably happier with that gnome. So I'm going to say I'm still slightly dissatisfied with the gnome. Okay. I'm a picky person. Yeah. By no, dark vision is a joke. Only 1.5 races don't have it at this point. Yes. Yeah. Oh, look, if you're gonna give them dark vision, if you're just trying to get rid of them, if you just want to have normal vision and dark vision, you don't want to have all the other things in between we used to have, which I totally get. Just allow them to have advantage or something like on perception checks, and that's it. Like, that's probably the easiest way to deal with that. Halfling. How did I feel about the halfling? I don't know that I felt that strongly about anything that the halfling had. Halfling should be lucky. Brave, I'm fine with that, actually. Nimbleness, the size thing. It's really all the same as it was before. I don't really think that was anything special. It's fine. I'm satisfied. Orc. The orc just kind of looks like a slightly improved version of the half-orc, frankly. Relentless endurance, they've always had that. Like, it's not dark vision, they always had that. Powerful build, like, it's never going to come up, or very rarely. And the adrenaline rush, the dash thing, it makes sense. I don't get the temporary hit points, so even though I'm mostly happy with that, I'm going to say I'm still a little bit dissatisfied. I'm not quite right with the orc here. The tiefling, as I said, I think that's the one that's pretty ballsed up. There's only one of them that's done a good job. So I'm going to put it over here. I don't know how useful it is to be using the scale when anyway. We're doing the best we can. Moving on. 4% done. This is going to take me a long time. God help me. Right, let's keep moving. How satisfied are you with the elements of the human character option as presented in the article? Okay, so this is now they're breaking it down. This is more useful. So we go to human, and so I actually know what I'm talking about. I think there's only one thing that I kind of didn't like that much about the human. Let's just see. Resourceful, you get inspiration whenever you have a long rest. I don't understand that one, frankly. I don't know why it is. Why does the humans do that? But resourceful, don't get it. Hi, Mike. How's it going? I'm not really against it, but I just don't understand why does it apply to the likes of a human? Like, really? Skillful. Proficient in one skill of your choice. Like, I'm fine with that. I'd be happy with that with any class, any race or species. So skillful, fine with that, happy with that. You gain the skilled feat or another first level feat of your choice. Well, I don't really get anything else. Like, they're not getting dark vision. They're not going to get anything else. Like, versatile. It's all right. It's not great. Okay. Generally, I feel the human is very boring as a race. Mechanically. So what do I need to spell out why I don't like it? I don't understand why humans inspire the group. I don't really get that at all. I mean, do you? I don't get it. I don't really feel like humans are necessarily that inspirational. You gain inspiration. Oh, it's not inspired. Don't understand why humans get inspiration. Get inspiration. It's just, I guess the problem is that humans aren't like easily defined. I think that's where it is. Okay. It is a very boring race to play. Inspiration. They need to do something with it, but I don't know that that's necessarily it. So let's move on. Otherwise, I'll be here at least 13%. I'm feeling a lot better and more comfortable now. How satisfied are you with the elements of the Ardling character options as presented in the article, and now breaks it down? Okay, so I really hate angelic flight. Like, if I had to pick anything that I despised, I don't get it. I just don't get it. So why is that? I don't like limited flight on a race. It should have it or not have it. Okay, I've written that down. Hello, Chris. How are you doing? Hello, Mr. Welch. We're going to have some conversations. I can't believe you have taken the time to come and show up for this, of all things, dude. You've got lots of other things that are much more important to do. If you guys don't know, Agile Monk is a patron, by the way, and Mr. Welch runs a YouTube channel doing lore. Very specific lore. Humans only get da. Yes. Chris, yes, we're doing this, Fred. So everybody should be joining in if you can, or watch me and make some notes or something like that. I don't know. We are so human. That's right. Okay. The Celestial Legacy. Exalted. Like, did they actually do any, like, cat, the Lesser Restoration, Celestial. Lesser Restoration, a kind of divine favor, I guess. Thaumaturgy, I don't get it. Exalted. I just don't get this whole thing that much. Thaumaturgy? I guess it's not bad. Let's say it's not bad. I'll just say, am I satisfied? No, I'm not really. I still don't get it. I'm just going to put down I don't get it. I'm putting the dissatisfied. The exalted one, the heavenly one, and then the idyllic one. Okay, and then damage resistance. Damage resistance makes a lot of sense, but you're never going to get to use it because how many monsters do radiant damage? How many? Unless you're fighting another celestial that does radiant damage, you're never going to use it. But it does make sense. So I'll give you that. Okay? Heck, I'll give you I am very satisfied with that. How's that? It's still not going to do you any good as a player. Heavenly, light, cure wounds, zone of truth. I still don't understand it. It's trying to flow into the idea of heavenly, light, cure wounds, angelic. I guess that's what the heavenly is all about. Zone of truth, and then the animals. But I don't feel like elephants, an owl, a pig, or a stork are any more heavenly than any other animal. Are they really? Like, one of them has wings. No, two. Two have wings, unless you're dealing with a flying pig, and then it's different. And the Asmar's Fury. Yeah, I think like, yeah. Mr. Welch, I am not against having furry humanoid playable races because I actually kind of like that idea. I would prefer that than just having humans dominating the entire fantasy world. But that's me. Not everybody wants that. I'm still not really exalted. I think I'm probably okay. I'm going to say I'm all right with the heavenly one. I suppose that's not as bad as the others. Okay, and then looking over here at idyllic. Idylic's going to be an interesting one. That's how people are going to play them. I prefer they fix asthma. Yeah, fix asthma is probably a better idea. Idyllic, guidance, healing word, animal messenger, and then you get this. I just don't get it. I'm not sold. Sorry, people, I am not sold. So the only legacy I understand is heavenly. I am not sold on the animal suggestions. Yeah, I guess that's really it. There's not much more to say about that. Let's just move on. When pigs fly. Yeah, exactly. Dragonborn. Okay, I'm look. One of the things I am liking, because they didn't do this in a lot of their other surveys, is they are at least getting you to break down in a bit more detail what parts of stuff you like and don't like, and that's a really good sign. Okay, rather than these very sweeping ideas. The breath weapon. Oh God, I'm just going to put that. It's a mess. Damage resistance, actually, I'm perfectly fine with that. Dark vision, yes, it should have dark vision. It's a dragonborn. Like, it's a dragonborn. Like, why would you not have this? Draconic language. Doesn't it just give you draconic as a language? Like, yeah, course I'm happy with that. That is a no-brainer. So you're actually pretty close to God on spot on. The breath weapon is only useful at low levels. When you don't have extra attack multiple extra attacks, actually. It's not just one, because 2 is probably fine. It would be comparable a cone of 15 feet. You're probably hitting about 2. If you're very lucky, you might get 3, but you're usually hitting 2. So that's actually multiple. And I know what people want to do is they want to be able to use it at a higher level, and all they do is just breathe. But also too, like slashing damage, multiple, slashing damage, bludgeoning damage, and piercing damage is not as good as doing energy damage, which is what the dragonborn does. So it is significantly better to be doing that sort of thing, because you can get round a lot of the damage resistances that monsters have, because a lot of things are resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing, aren't they? So maybe tone down that D10 to a D8, because a D8 is sort of your average sort of damage output weapon. It's only useful at low levels when you don't have multiple extra attacks. Okay, I think I got that right. I don't think it should be a bonus action. How much of a horror would be a winged wild boar? Nice one. Why can't Dragonborn use Breath Weapon as a bonus action once they get to level 5? I'm not even going to suggest that, because I hate bonus actions. I want the bonus actions gone. I don't want to encourage them. I would never say that. I'm happy for it to be an action, but they need to figure out how people can use it as an alternative weapon rather than using spells or wielding a weapon, like actually holding a weapon or punching and stuff like that. Hi, how's it going, Pale Rider? Pale Rider, of course you should be loving Mr. Welch's stuff. He makes good stuff. Right, I'm actually happy with that. We're moving on. 22%. Okay, there's time. How satisfied are you with the elements of the dwarf character option as presented in the article? Yeah, I'm fine with the dark vision. It's a dwarf, I suppose. A dwarven resilience. It did change a little bit, didn't it? I'm actually fine with that. I don't have an issue with that. That's fine. It's all good. Is it actually, because they did change the wording. So you're resistant to poison damage, and you have advantage on saving throws to make to avoid or end the poison condition. Yeah, that's fine. They haven't made you immune to poison, but you are able to put up with a lot. I'm fine with that. That's good. Dwarven toughness, actually, I don't have a problem with the extra hit point for a dwarf. Like dwarven toughness, that actually kind of makes sense. Forge wise, I know a lot of people hate forge wise. Like, why would the dwarf god only allow them to be creative with jewelry, mason tools, smith's tools, and tinkerers? Well, Mr. Welch will be able to tell me if I've screwed up here in terms of my understanding. But I'm pretty sure that's the sort of stuff that Moradin actually makes. So that ability transitioning over to the dwarf as a gift, as part of the deity, makes perfect sense to me. I am very happy with that one. And I don't care if you think it's useless. I think it's a good idea. I am slightly disappointed with stone cunning. I think that this is a little bit of a sucky. So the bad thing I need to say about the stone cunning, I don't understand why stone cunning, did I get it right? Cunning only works a limited number of times. It should always work, and if 60 feet's too much and too overpowered, then crank down the distance. 30 feet would be fine. Like 30 feet is still, kind of useful, and kind of makes sense. I actually think that the tremor ability was a very good idea. Tremor sense is still a good idea. Okay, so did I get it right? I don't know that I did, but I'm going to press that button. I'll read through my little friends here in chat, and you're telling me stuff. Bonus actions need to go. Yeah. Or move to more of an action economy that is laid out as part. I don't know. I don't want to go near Pathfinder 2E or even Pathfinder. I've played Pathfinder First Ed Edition. I don't know about Pathfinder Second Ed Edition myself. They make all right adventures and so forth. I don't know about game mechanics, frankly, but anyway, yeah, yep, fair enough. Okay, so I know you know about other things other than that setting, though. Yeah. See, if they had, that's actually very, very true, Mr. Welch. Trim sense is a good idea. Ditch dark vision and just keep the tremor sense. I agree. That makes sense. That really does. Okay, they're not using their eyes; they're using the way they feel around them. I like that. You lost faith in Dark Sun? Oh dear. Yeah, that's all right. This is why I'm making this video and live stream so that you guys will go and pay attention and fill some stuff out. I've filled everything out. Okay, let's move this along. This is the elf character, which I think is probably one of the strongest things they have done. Dark vision, yeah, it's all right. Everything has dark vision. The drow lineage. Now, what do I remember about the elves? I was looking at the elves and I was saying they just about got it pretty much spot on as far as I was concerned. I wasn't really terribly unhappy. Keen sense, had it forever. It's been around for like almost every edition under the sun. The trance, I'm actually quite happy with the trance. The Fey ancestry advantage, yeah, I'm actually fine with that. It's the lineages we'll have to go through and just think about. So trance, fine. Keen sense, fine. Fey ancestry, fine. It's the drow, high elf, and wood elf. I think generally I'm not unhappy with most of this. Like, this is actually doing pretty well. Pardon me. Just trying to get my head around where I am. They're saying homebrew your game, or most definitely could be wrong. I don't know. Look, some people will homebrew their game, which is fine. But that's how it is. Like, people do that. The river dance. Yes, communicate through the river dance. I actually like that idea a lot. That's brilliant. Let's do that. Okay, so let's have a look at these different Elven thingies. Fairy Fire Darkness. Well, they've been kind of around forever. They've got the huge dark vision because apparently they all live under the ground. And then they've got this dancing lights. I'm actually fine with the drow lineage. That's all right. We'll just leave that. That's all right. That's fine. And then high elf, detect magic, misty step. I'm actually kind of fine with that. Prestidigitation, yeah. I don't like the replacing the cantrip. Prestidigitation is like the universal spell. Why do we need to actually switch it out? It doesn't make sense. I like, but then again, I would just let the players have every single cantrip on their spell list, and that would be it. Like, it's a cantrip, guys. Just let them have the damn thing. Anyway, let's just go. I'm going to say high elf, a little bit distant. Right. I don't like the idea of swapping out a cantrip after a long rest. It makes no sense. Okay. So, I think I've got that one done. And then the Wood Elf. Actually, I think the Wood Elf did a pretty good job. Long Strider, yeah, okay. Pass Without a Trace, yeah. Speed increases, yeah. Druidcraft. It's kind of spot on. Like, I don't think it could get much better than that. I'm actually going to go way over here. I'm really pleased with what they did there. Let us do that. I've done that. It's too late, Chris. How about switch out for a non-combat cantrip? No. Prestidigitation does, like, almost everything under the sun. Like, you don't need to swap it out. It really is unimportant. And frankly, I still don't know why they insist on limiting the number of sodding cantrips that a caster can use. Like, it's just bizarre. I have a different view of these things to others. That's just how it is, I guess. Good thing I didn't create the game. I would have pissed off a lot of people by saying you get all the cantrips on your spell list. Okay, so let's have a look. How satisfied are you with the elements of the gnome character option as presented in the article? Yeah, we're going to say fine with the darkfish, I guess. I might as well. I mean, I don't know what else. What else are we supposed to do with this? Gnomish cunning. I don't remember gnomish cunning. Do we have gnomish cunning? What is gnomish cunning? It seems a little powerful. It does seem... Okay. Gnomish cunning seems a little powerful. A little too powerful. Too powerful. We don't want to make it too powerful, do we? The lineages, the forest gnome, the rock gnome. And if I remember right, when I was looking at these, I did just mention it, didn't I? Yeah, I didn't like the forest gnome. I'm actually pretty happy with how the rock gnome came out. I think that's actually perfectly fine. The rock gnome, I'm actually quite happy with that. I think they did a pretty good job. The forest gnome, I don't like this. I think a forest gnome should be able to talk to all animals without using a limited spell. Like, the going thing is everything we do is let's give them another bloomin' spell. I'm tired of them doing that. Just give them abilities that aren't magical, rather than giving them yet another spell. Like, everybody, you get your race gets a spell, your class gets a spell, your background gets a spell. Ah, come on. Right, I am happy with that, I'm pretty sure. How's you're gonna get people to play gnomes? Actually, I haven't had that much trouble. But if you get them, if they can talk to all animals, they will play a gnome. Yeah, spells at first level that screws with the world building like Drake. Yeah, I feel like that's you're pulling, aren't you? You're having a little stab there. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you are. Okay, how satisfied are you with the elements of the halfling character options as presented in the article? I'm actually fine with Brave, if I'm pretty sure. I don't think I have an issue with Brave at all. Because I feel like they should be brave. The nimble thing, the lucky thing, that's fine. The natural stealthy, they're actually all kind of make sense. Like, put that there. I'm always a little concerned about things that are dice rolls. And the lucky dice rolling aspect of things is the thing that upsets me the most. But yeah, I guess I'm not a fan of things that revolve around dice rolling so much. Very good. How's that? Very good. I don't think they need to change very much of that at all, if anything. Okay, how satisfied are you with the elements of the orc race option as presented in the article? Considering how many half-orcs I've played, you are going to get a little bit of a hammering. I'm actually perfectly fine because we've had this before. I don't care for this thing very much. Dark vision, I'm fine with that. Orcs should have dark vision. Adrenaline rush, I actually don't like that much. I don't understand why they have temporary hit points. Why am they getting temporary hit points? Oh, sorry. For those of you, I didn't realize that what I've done is, because all the questions are on this side, you can't actually see what I'm actually doing. You should have told me, people. All right. Where am I? Screen capture. Move it over. I didn't even notice because I haven't been looking. I'm so sorry. Like, you've been looking at my face covering everything up the whole time, and you didn't say anything. Okay, so adrenaline rush. Why don't I don't think orcs need to get temp hit points, or why they would. For me, I just don't get it at all. And then yeah, but I still want you to be able to see the questions, even though I've been reading them out. It didn't even occur to me that I just need to put on the other side. This is the problem when you do a live stream, you're not pre-recording everything. But then again, I would never do this pre-recorded. It'd never happen. So now, when I think about powerful build, seems pointless and will never come up. Really, sorry, will really come up. So, I need to get this spelt right. Really powerful. Might actually be good if I spell that correctly. And then we are moving that across. I believe I have got everything I needed for that. Have orcs a birthright, dragonlance, da. Well, again, I feel like just because it's in the player's handbook, it doesn't mean you need to have it in your game. I've said this before. I know it's the default. The problem is they got rid of half orc and they got rid of half elf, and they didn't know what to replace it with. What would be a good replacement for orcs? And for me, I'm very biased. I love orcs. I would play an orc, even if it meant that I could never go into a town, which makes perfect sense to me. I accept this as a consequence, and that everybody will hate me. That's all right. That's being an orc. Okay. I am hoping that I got everything right. I haven't seen my screen catch up and actually tell me that, that I've got it right on my phone. Yeah, a whole agile monk. We get to play a whole orc rather than half an orc, even though the whole orc feels like the half orc anyway. It's a little strange. I am aware. Oh, I didn't update it. That's why it's not going there. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. Now I understand. Like, I spotted it, but I didn't actually transition the screen. Okay, focus, Fred, focus. Getting distracted. How satisfied are you with the elements of the tiefling character option as presented in the article? Really? Okay, sure, it's fine. It's sad. It's all right. They're going to have 120 feet of dark vision. Otherworldly presence. Gosh, I don't even remember half the stuff they had. So we need to go down to tiefling, because I already looked at the orc stuff. I remembered most of that stuff off the top of my head, so that's always nice. Let's have a look here. Looky, looky. Otherworldly presence, thaumaturgy. You cast it with a trait that uses this. So you know a cantrip because of otherworldly presence. It's alright. I don't get it. Why do they have that? Like, what? Why that? Okay, sure. I'm going to put that. I don't really get it. I'm dissatisfied. I'm a hard person to please. What about the fiendish legacies? Like, which ones did I actually... I actually didn't like the abyssal, the chthonic, and I didn't... Yeah, the only one I really liked was the infernal. The only one that made sense to me in the slightest was the infernal. I finally, after almost a sodding hour, I've moved my camera out of the bloomin' way. For those of you who stuck around, you deserve an ice cream, okay? Because I could, you should have just said, Fred, get your face out of the way of the Q&A. I'd just say, just get it out of the way. So I'm going to say infernal. Yeah, I'm going to say a no on these two because I don't get them at all. Lots of playable races are known as monsters. Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Mike. How's it going? I don't understand why they have the... God, I don't want to spell that word. The TH cantrip. I'm not even going to try to spell it because right now I just can't be stuffed. I know that's lazy. Yeah, you guys love me too much. There's times we've got to say, Fred, could you just please move your face out of the way so we can see? Like, it's actually in the way and we can't see what's going on. Fiendish Legacy. Yeah. I wonder if can I copy and paste it out of a PDF? I don't know if I can. I'm gonna try it. Maybe I can do that way. Because I'm really lazy and I don't want to actually type it in. Man, I should have just got you guys to type it all in for me. All right, so that's that one. And then I don't like or understand the abyssal. Abyssal for me feels like we're dealing with demons, right? And the other one, I don't even know what the hell that word is. Like this, it lost me completely. Chthonic. Don't like or understand the chthonic. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I've covered that. Everybody gets a dark vision and a spell. That's the new formula. It very much is. Hello, Negative Space. How's it going? I have never filled out one of these surveys before because I feel like it. If I were to do it, I would end up writing novels, as I am doing myself. You may have noticed. Like, we're not quite at 50%. We're getting close. I'm actually much more interested in the feedback on the other stuff. The races is actually my least interesting. I feel like it's the most boring one of the whole lot. Okay, how satisfied are you with the overall with the character background section as presented in the article? Okay, so I'm not sold on the ability score bonuses going there. I'm not against it, but I don't feel like they all need to be there. And I do not like the concept of feats and backgrounds, but not all of some of them are actually, I feel, are fine. So this is actually interesting. I actually have to go with dissatisfied. I'm hoping they'll let me break that down because it's going to be hard otherwise. Okay, here we go. Good chappies and ladies and gentlemen, you've broken it down. Because now I can actually say what I like about bits and pieces. Now, I love the idea of the skill proficiencies. Although I suppose at this point, everybody has so many skills, they should be able to do everything very well. Tool proficiency, I like that. I know that won't help you in combat, but who gives a shit? Languages, I'm fine with that. I would have done, these are the things that we were already trying to do in my own game. So this is actually not new to me at all. And then equipment, I love the idea that you just, all the packages, you can just make up your own. It's worth 50 gold pieces. They've got some preset samples that you can just plug in for new players, so I don't have to thinking about anything. Great idea. Love that stuff. Not happy about the sodding feats. Not really happy about the ability scores. Yep, you go have some dinner, man. I'll see you, Glenn. So, I don't think all the ability score improvements should be connected to background. And some should be race. And I don't actually think that both increases should be race. I like what they did with the half elf, where one of them would go into one thing that made sense because their biology, like an orc should be strong. It's like if you think about a chimpanzee and a human, physically, chimpanzees are just biology wise, they are stronger. Okay, it makes sense that a dwarf has a better constitution overall than everybody else. I feel like this is just trying to play and pander, like as in panda bear, to power gamers who just want to do whatever. Do you know what I mean? Next, the feats. I don't like feats becoming the standard in the game. I want it optional. And I guess the other thing I need to say is the combat feats. Sorry. The combat feats, the ones I don't like the most. Combat feats will just create, come on Fred, create more power creep. But I'm fine with tools, musical instruments, languages, and skills. Now, even a fighter or martial character should have skills in something other than beating the crap out of somebody. That's just my opinion. Like, I've heard people say, oh, but they're really good for martials and, fighters. I'm like, come on. Even the fighters, they keep complaining about not being as versatile as casters. You need to actually expand your repertoire. And this is how you do it with the background. Okay, I'm pressing the button, people. We're going to be going down this in a second. This bit I won't care too much about. I've never been a fan of tieflings and warlocks. Yeah, warlocks are kind of broken. They just need to be able to do their stuff, get everything back every time they start a new battle. Being in the core book, it's pretty sure forward. Yeah, well, look, I don't have a problem with tieflings and warlocks being there myself, but if you do, that's cool. Don't use them. I know that creates the problem is I know that once you put in the player's handbook, then players assume that they get to use it. All the feats and multi-classing rules should have been in the Dungeon Master's Guide, not in the player's handbook. This is why Dungeon Masters can't say to their players, no, we're not going to be using feats or multi-classing, because they all go, no! And I'm like, oh god, here we go. Agile Monk. An orc should make a very strong barbarian with little extra wisdom. Yeah, I'm fine with getting rid of the negatives. I just don't understand why. Yeah, anyway. I said, you know what I said. You know Monk, you know my views. You have heard me say this before. Which of the backgrounds have you play tested? Really? Are these sample backgrounds? They want me to actually go through. They want people to actually go and play test the sample backgrounds. No, I haven't done any of them. But I don't care about them either. I'm not dissatisfied. I just don't care. I don't care about the sample backgrounds. I'm just going to put this there. Here's this. This is nice and easy. Look at this, guys. Look how fast I'm filling in my survey now. Whoa. I don't care about the sample backgrounds if people can customize them. That should be clear. I believe it is. Press the button. And we're okay. Do you use Feats when playing 5th edition? Yes, I do. Often, always. I've tried to get out of it, but no. And yes, we have used Feats at 1st level as part of a background. We are currently been given the Charger feat as a 1st level feat, everybody in the party, because nobody ever takes it. The Dungeon Master's been like, I was thinking of giving everybody the Skilled feat, and then I thought, no, I'm going to give everybody the Charger feat and see what happens. So we've actually been playtesting. You've probably been doing this yourself. So here we go. Which of these feats have you playtested? No, well, I haven't playtested any of them. Oh, hang on. That's not true. I believe Skilled hasn't actually changed. So where is it? Artisan. No. Go. Let's go down. That's equipment stuff. Moving across. Equipment. Languages. Don't worry about that stuff. Feats. Here we go. Alert. No. Crafter. No. Because it actually doesn't exist right now. The Lucky feat in its current form has not been playtested because it's new. Musician doesn't exist. It's new. Magic Initiate is essentially the same. So Magic Initiate we've had that, and Skilled, yeah, we've had that, and Savage Attacker, no. So Skilled, Magic Initiate, Brawler, don't even start me with that one. Healer, no, because that's changed too much. Okay, so how satisfied are you with the elements of the feat selection as presented in this article? So, let's say, alert, don't want that. It is not my... No, I'm not happy. Crafter, very happy. I like that. Healer, no, I'm still not that great and that happy about it. Lucky, no, get that away from me. It's not so great. I mean, it's not as powerful at low level, but at higher levels, mid-range, it's just going to get better than it already is. Like, no. I don't really care too much about what they're doing with Magic Initiate, so that's fine. Musician, very happy. I'm happy with that. That's where we need to be going. Savage Attacker, that's all right. Skilled, yes, let's keep that. Tavern Brawler, you've got to be kidding me. And then toughness, I don't really care too much for that either. So those are my... So now I need to give feedback as to why I don't like any of the feats that contribute to combat at 1st level, because it will create more power creep. And do not think their monsters will be tough enough, because if you've seen Monsters of the Multiverse, that ain't going to be happening anytime soon. So what have we got here? More powerful. Because it will create more power creep. Power creep. Okay, yeah. The monsters in the multiverse book are very weak. They're nothing compared to what I'm currently running. I don't know, they're so backwards it's not funny. Come on. Multiverse. Okay, so I said that. I don't like any of the feats that contribute to combat at first level because it will create more power creep. Monsters in the multiverse book are free. Okay, so that's, I kind of told them what I needed to say. Evil race of classes playable in the core rules of the yeah, I get what you're saying. Because they're trying to steer away from some races being not evil. I get what you're saying. And that was sort of how you got around playing an orc, a half orc rather than an orc, because a half orc had different mixed heritage, right? So I get what you're saying with that. Yeah. How satisfied were you with the elements of the rules glossary section as presented in the article? Actually, this is where we want. We're up to 65%. Oh my gosh. Okay, so at least it's only an hour. I'm not here for 2 hours. So that's I really like the way that they've said D20 test. It's a lot clearer. The grappled condition. Now I have to think about that a bit. Come back to that. Incapacitated condition. I'm mostly all right with it. I just don't actually know why you would even be allowed to have an initiative roll if you are incapacitated. Like, why is that even coming in? Like, you can't do anything. Inspiration. I hate that so much. The long rest. I can't remember what it was. I'll come back to it. Slowed condition, I'm actually fine with the slowed condition. Unarmed strike. Unarmed strikes. Now shove, push. So shove and grapple as an unarmed strikes and how they work is actually pretty clean, and I actually kind of like that. They haven't said anything about critical hits here. So I'm kind of wondering if they're going to bring that up later. So let's... I'm actually all right with this because I do feel like it's simpler. I mean, the grapple rules, if you do it the way they're suggesting, an attack roll is the simplest it's ever been. Arcane spell list, it's all right. I'm actually going to go here. Unarmed strike. I think that's where I wanted to be. There's a few things I haven't filled out. Let's have a look at the long rest and the grappled condition. Long rest, grappled condition. Come on. They haven't talked about rolling a 1, rolling a 20. Like, okay. Where is it? The grappled condition. Speed is reduced, disadvantage on attack rolls. We always thought it was that in the first place. So that actually makes a lot more sense. Moving, escaping. I don't like the escaping aspect of the grappled. So where is grappled? Grappled condition... The grappled condition or the grappled ability? Condition. No, I don't. It's the condition that I want to attack. That bit there, that doesn't work for me. The long rest. Where was it? Long rest. So this has caused so much trouble over time to the point where somebody was arguing with me the other day that you could have a fight during a long rest in the past, and like, no, you couldn't. it always, the wording is the only thing that's been added is the 6 hours of sleep. Like everything else was essentially the same. So the long rest is fine. It's all right. It's fine. So I've answered that one, answered that one. Yes. Now I've got to actually explain myself. There's a lot to write. Oh. Sorry, as part of the game, I've always thought most feats should be something a character can normally do. The feat makes it better, for example. Yeah, I just want it to fill out their background rather than when they, like, that's the background rather than they are their character class. They've already got stuff for their character class. Anyway, let's work my way through here. I dislike the grappler grapple condition not requiring an action to escape, as it makes no sense and discourages grappling. It will discourage people grappling because you won't do it, because it will take your action to put it on, and then once you've got it on, yes, anybody who's trying to attack, they got disadvantage, but they're just going to take it off, and that'll be that. Like it's not a big deal. So that's that one. Grapple. Incapacitated. Why is a creature even allowed to roll initiative if incapacitated? Come on, Fred, can I get it right? Capacitated and can't do anything. Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's lost on me. How's it going, Archer? Archer friend, how's it going? Alright, so that's that one. Oh, this is going to be a lot of work. Okay. I don't let players play evil characters. Yeah, fair enough. I don't think it creates a socially... Yeah. Like, now. So I've done that one. Inspiration. I don't like the inspiration mechanics we have and that are suggested, and think it should be awarded as a DM sees fit, basically. Now, there's a rationale why I think this, because they're trying to fix the problem that nobody is using inspiration. My players and people I have played with don't use inspiration points because they forget they have them. Forget they have them. Think they don't need to use them, and really save them for a big fight. That might have been the case when I first played the game, but they don't really do that now. Like, so that's just, no, I don't think so. Do I need to comment on anything else? I think everything else is perfectly fine. I want to comment on the rolling a 1 and rolling a 20 and critical hits, but I don't know if that's coming up in this thing. So I'm going to just move forward and see if we go back to that, because I really want to comment. Yes, good. Thank God for that. Hello, what do you got here, Chris? Most of my players forget about inspiration. Yeah, that's it. That's the problem. It's not the saving it. So yes, if you just make sure they don't lose it, that's probably a better thing. I think rolling a 1 and it's a failure on all D20 rolls, saving throws, ability checks, skill checks, attack rolls, like, that's what players always thought it was supposed to be in the first place. I'm actually very satisfied with that. That is brilliant. It's consistent. It makes sense. If you don't want them to make a dice roll because you don't want them to fail, then just don't let them make the dice roll, okay? Some people will be really, their characters will be just good at doing stuff. And then when it comes to rolling a critical and always succeeding, just say, no, you can't roll a dice roll to do this because it's too difficult. That's why they've stipulated that range of 5 to 30. So if you have a task that would be considered more than 30, you don't have 30 as a DC. You just don't get to make a roll for that. No, you cannot lasso the moon and pull it down. Even if you roll a 20. Doesn't work. Okay. So this is not a new thing. This problem has existed right now in our current games, where players will say, okay, I want to roll a 20, and what I want to try to do is I am going to, and they'll explain what they're going to do, and it's ridiculous. So as a dungeon master, even new dungeon masters will get tripped up. They're getting tripped up now. They're going to get tripped up again. It's all right. Don't worry about that. The critical hit stuff, really hate that. Okay, why do I hate it? Monsters. Okay, so I will not use the critical hit rules suggested ever. Never going to happen. So why is that? Monsters should get critical hits. Critical hits. Because it's scary and characters don't remain level 1, 2, 3 for very long. So if you're worried about killing characters at low levels, it doesn't go on for that long. You throw it in a couple of sessions. So I just don't see why this is an argument that we need to consider. So I'm ditching that idea. Now, what's the other thing? That's right. You can't crit. Okay. But what about smite and sneak attack? Yes, Chris. I actually think that they should still crit. That's actually not what I want crits to do. I'm going to save this for after. I'm going to say it now. I just want critical hits to do consistent max damage rather than roll dice. That's what I want. We did it in 4E. Frankly, I think it was the smartest thing you could do. I know some people hate 4E, but that's one thing that actually works really well. Because if you take the concept of you just take max damage on whatever you roll, you don't get those huge variations for sure. Like you roll 2 dice and you get big numbers on both. So you won't get these big, huge surprises. But you won't roll 2 dice and get 2 really small numbers and wind up with getting a critical hit and doing 2 damage on 2 dice, which is possible, right? Even if you have no modifiers. So that's what I want from critical hits. Now, spells should critical hit because most attack roll spells are cantrips. People, they're just cantrips, or don't do the big damage. Hits anyway. It's not an issue. It's one of the things that I thought was the smartest thing to say, critical hitting with a spell that has an attack roll. I was like, brilliant idea. Like, that's so smart. Do that. So what do we got here? I'm going to have to look through the chat while I'm doing this. Negative space. Yeah, I think being able to hand out more than one should definitely be part of the rules. I have never understood why the max of one was the rule. I need to mention sneak attack, don't I? Yeah. I mean, let's get real. Max damage on a sneak attack and a smite. I'm actually not that worried about that. Actually, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So see what you're doing there, Chris, is you're trying to flatten the maths, right? That's all we want to do is just make sure that a critical hit isn't like a bummer. You hit really well. You should just do some really really consistent heavy damage, and max damage on the dice is pretty good. What you're suggesting is even more powerful though, Chris. This is why I don't use that. I use max damage. Hello, Robert. How's it going, Robert Moore? Okay. You got to go to bed, negative space? No problem. I totally understand. Do I want to mention sneak attack? Do I really want to mention it? I don't really care. Do I care either way? Have always max damage, then times 2. But even if you do that, that's a hell of a lot of. I mean, that would be terrifying with some of the monsters. Even though monsters do less damage than characters, like that's the reality. Is most monsters, their damage output is significantly less than the characters, unless it's a surprise monster that does all sorts of, like a bugbear. Like that would be very frightening. So I'm going to put that for now. You guys have got your own opinion. You'll fill out the survey as you see fit. So what do you got here? Spirit animal. Spirit wolf. You got that. Monster equals critical system should have fun too. Yeah, well, it's not just fun. It's just... The problem is we're giving too much to the players and the monsters are falling behind yet again. And don't tell me their monster manual is going to fix that. Bollocks. I don't believe it. Add strength or dex. Yeah, adding strength or dex to the hit, obviously. Damage, dice, and yeah. How satisfied are you with the elements of inspiration as presented in the article? Oh, God. Gaining inspiration. I did not like that. And only one at a time. I'm actually fine with only one at a time. That's fine. Losing inspiration. No, I don't actually like that. So here we go. So I think Dungeon Masters should just assign inspiration for what they want, because they're doing it already that way. So there's no point doing anything else because they are going to do that. They're going to do their own thing. It's been going on for ages like this. I think the DMs always assign inspiration for what they want. Wizards of the Coast can suggest a few ideas. That's it. That's all you need to do, people. Other than that, stay out of it. Next, losing it. Okay. Characters should not lose inspiration. It's annoying. Why do we do this? Like, oh, you can only use it for this period of time. No, let them keep it. Okay? Just let them keep it. It's advantage, okay? We will survive. That's exactly right. You can't make every creature a legendary creature with a recharge ability. So, nonsense. Okay, how satisfied are you with the elements of the long rest as presented in the article? No, well, I just looked at the long rest. I forgot it in front of me. I actually think it's actually good. I actually think it's very, very good. Benefits for the long... Oh, did I say... What are the benefits? Benefits. At the end of long rest gains all of your hit points. It also gains spent hit dice. It's reasonably simple. Can't benefit from more than one long rest in a 24-hour period. We'll put it... Okay, and at least... No, I'm fine. Interrupting it. Long rest is interrupted by one combat or by 1 hour of walking casting spells, which it was essentially what we were dealing with before. So it's all good. I'm actually fine with all of that. Interrupting, all of that. Good. Well done. Nicely done. Oh, we're up to 83%. I'm so happy. Additional no, I don't have any additional things to say. Next. The following questions are just for classification purposes. Oh, God. Is this the marketing team trying to figure out how to sell me stuff? Because the last time I filled out questions, they were asking me about what books I'm 51. Okay? 51. I'm old. I know. I'm not your demographic. Moving on. Which of these best describes your gender? Okay. I'm pretty sure I'm a man. That's me? Okay. And have I done it? Have I completed it? Actually, look, the layout of the survey. Can I just say that if the layout of the survey is like this for all of the play packets, they're doing a good job. Okay. Thank you for taking our survey. Your feedback is very important to us and to the D&D game. Can I just first say, one of the best things they ever did for Dungeons and Dragons, creature has reached out. So let me just go back to my face. Like, I know it's fun to look at a blank screen, but let's just go back to my face. Oops, that's not my face. That might be it. Okay. So let's get real. When it comes to to things like this, I have been part of the playtesting for the alpha, and I was part of the development of the Dungeon Master, not the Dungeon Master Guide, but the Monster Manual. Okay, so there are some things that I am aware of with regard to how Wizards of the Coast operates, because I've seen behind the scenes. So it's not new on me. I do understand how that all works. So first off, you need to understand that just because you personally or I personally give them feedback, they may not respond to it. You might be the only person who said something about that, and everybody else said something different. Okay? What else is there? No, Max, I think the monsters are... Did anyone else have some trouble with the lucky feat? Yeah, Chris, I didn't like the lucky feat myself, but I never have. So first off, give your feedback, but don't expect the game to change just because you didn't like the what they've done with it. Okay, that's one of the things I learned when I was doing the alpha play testing, and one of the things that became apparent when we were play testing the Monster Manual, that just because I give feedback did not change what they were going to do. I think you will find that ultimately the game is set. I'll tell you right now, the game is set. The only way that it's not set is if they have a horrible response to something. If the response to something they're trying to do in the game is so bad that they think it would hurt their sales, they will change it. Okay? If it's only some people like it, some people don't, it's probably going to stay where it is. But if there's enough people who say, I hate that part of what you've done, they will change that because they're worried about money. Okay? Another aspect that you need to consider is because they've probably already got the Player's Handbook, the Monster Manual, and most of the Dungeon Master Guide mostly laid out and set out, and it's just about sort of sorting out the ins and outs and then checking to make sure that people are all right with this stuff. It really requires a lot of people to respond. Now, the problem with playtesting, what's that, Chris? If you roll with disadvantage, then grant yourself advantage after the roll. How does that work? If you roll disadvantage and then grant yourself advantage after the roll, well, that's very true, Chris. And I'm not going to answer that question for them because it's not my problem right now. And but what I want to say is, I know right now that tomorrow when I go and play Dungeons and Dragons with my friends, my home group, that nobody will know that there is a Unearthed Arcana character origins playtest out, and that they need to go and check it out and respond to the survey. Most of them won't even give a shit about it. And that is my playgroup. Now imagine you take that and multiply that right throughout the entire world. The vast majority of people won't even know the thing exists. So the only way they find out is if you tell them about it and tell them where the survey is. And then even then, that doesn't guarantee that they will put aside some time over the next 2 weeks to respond to the survey, or even have an opportunity to play test stuff, because it's only like a 2-week interval and then the survey's open. So essentially, ultimately, you're only looking at just under 4 weeks to play test an idea. Now, a lot of people are already doing this sort of thing. Okay, so that's a given. But I would say now, when the game comes out and they've developed it and you didn't put your feedback forward, you will feel foolish that you didn't. Because, yes, you can change and modify the game if you want, okay? But you have to put your foot forward and take part when the opportunity arises. It is sort of the in thing now to publicly playtest stuff. Now, whatever their reasons and rationale, it doesn't matter. Okay, none of us really care too much about their marketing and their making money, or the amount of money they make, should we say. They need to make money to stay alive, absolutely, and keep making stuff. Okay, but ultimately, for us to have an effect, we have to actually pony up and put some time into this. Otherwise, the game will change and morph into something else, and you'll wind up playing your own home game house rules. And yeah. Just what I have to say with regard to that. You have to put it in. You have to make yourself known. Yeah, I know disadvantage and advantage cancel each other out, and it doesn't matter how many versions of advantage or disadvantage you have. It doesn't matter. They don't stack. Yeah. What else did I want to say, just really briefly? So my suggestion to you is go to your groups and tell people about it. And once you've told them about it, like, really encourage them. Don't harass them, because that won't help. They will just get annoyed. I know my players will. Okay, I know that my friends will just get annoyed if I say, you got to go and fill this out, because they've got their own stuff going on. But if you tell them enough about the things that you really hate, and they think the same way that you do, there's no guarantee that they do. Because I found when I discussed this with my home group, not last weekend, but the weekend before, we were kind of laughing when we were talking about the playtest package material. And I could see that my view was very different to other people in the group. So it's not like we would see eye to eye on everything, you know. But you've got to say something. The only way is to get people to take part, and you gotta get in it. It's my suggestion to you. I have said enough, because as we all know, this is part 1 of HowtoDandD to rule them all. Yeah, it's a new ed edition of Dungeons and Dragons, people. Okay, they just don't want to call it an ed edition because they're terrified of the community splitting, as it has just about every single time they've had a new version of the game come out. So yes, one D&D, or one game to rule them all. But you have to take part. Hey, thank you to everybody who took part today and hung out with me while I did this ridiculous task of going through and answering the survey. It takes me right back to nerd immersion and what Ted does, probably far better than I do and a lot quicker. But then again, I kind of view this as just a time to hang out and get it done, and that's what I'm going to do with it. So right now, you can be assured that the barrage of live streaming that I have been doing is going to continue. All right. It's going to continue. It may not all be Dungeon Master preparation or all Lost Mine of Phandelver DM tutorials. There is going to be some other stuff being rolled out very shortly. But I can assure you, you will see a lot more of me and it will continue on, and hopefully in the best quality video I could possibly get out. and I'm sure it's going to get better and better. And with your help, we're going to make that Patreon worth your time to invest in, because you'll get so much out of it. Like, that's the intention. Like, all that stuff today, after I've cooked some food, I'm going to upload as much of the stuff as we made over the last 2 weeks that I've fallen behind on. I'm going to upload that onto Patreon. It's going there. The lot. So wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the night, or the wee early morning, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. And thank you to my patrons, everybody who's been watching my live streams and my videos. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Those of you undecided about filling out that survey, go do it. Go do it. Those people who said no, go do it. Go do it, please.